Well, hi, everybody. My name is Ken Johnson, and we're going to shift gears a little bit here and talk about the wildfires out west and the reason why they've been so bad this week here. And it has a lot to do with a winter storm that impacted Texas and Oklahoma and the Deep South over the course of the last couple of days. And we've seen a lot of scenes like these, and this is some aerial footage that was captured by helicopter pilots out here in Southern California. With the mountains and the brush on fire. You know, California, especially Southern California, has a long history of wildfires. You know, you've just got the terrain, the dry terrain, and there's a number of factors that can also lead to the ignition of these fires. Sometimes, of course, unfortunately, arsonists can set these. Other times, sometimes the strong winds can create sparks and from power lines, and sometimes the bottom of a hot car can create them. So many things, cigarette butts, all those kind of things, so many things can create these fires. And what really helps to push these fires around is a couple of things. Well, the first thing you have to start with is looking at the drought conditions that are out here. You know, actually, California had good rainfall over at times in 2024. But La Nina, or at least a La Nina-like weather pattern, I don't think we're officially in La Nina, but a La Nina-like weather pattern is set up, and it's very common to see dry weather across the southwestern part of the United States in La Nina weather phases. La Nina is where the water in the Pacific Ocean off the South American coast is cooler than average. Now, on the flip side of that, the water down there is warmer than average. Then that's El Nino, and that brings a lot of rain. That was what we saw last winter. That's when we saw the rain in southern parts of California here. So the La Nina-like weather pattern is probably to blame for the dry conditions out here. So you can see drought, especially down here into the Los Angeles, San Diego area where the fires were the worst. It's severe to extreme drought down into this direction. So let's talk about the culprit this go around here. So you got the drought. You have very low humidity over this area. We have a large storm system earlier in the week that kind of parked itself, Joe, just kind of over Southern California or just south of there, down into parts of Baja California, into parts of Mexico. There's a big counterclockwise spin around this, and look at here. On the northwest side is where southwestern California is located. So around this, you had strong winds that were coming up over the mountains and were blowing offshore. This is known as the Santa Ana wind, and this type of a flow here creates low humidity, and it causes the temperatures to rise because that air descends off the higher terrain there into the valleys and there into the southern parts of California here. So that is ideal. You've got warm conditions, you've got low humidity, and you've got these really strong winds on the backside of this big winter storm here. And I mean, it was putting out some wind gusts up over 80 miles per hour at times this week in some of these areas. And all it takes is just a little spark with that. The conditions were as ideal as I think I've ever seen it for big fires to be spawned here. And you saw these, and the places where a lot of the actors and a lot of the stars live. Lots of actors and actresses have lost their homes, and lots of people have lost their homes out here. I'm not going to get into the water situation here because that's out of my expertise here, but I do know that the weather conditions were ideal, and the National Weather Service out here issued what's called a particularly dangerous wildfire situation. They were all on top of it and did a great job with warning the residents out this way. So now as we head into this weekend, Saturday and Sunday here, once again, it doesn't look to me as if the conditions are as favorable this go-round, but there are some fire weather watches out here in some of these same areas. You still got some fires going out here, and there's going to be a little bit of wind. Remember, when these fires get sparked, they're going to fuel off of the dry terrain. The strong winds are going to help push them along, and that low humidity just allows it to continue to breathe here. So if you check out the winds here, this is a Saturday morning, and we'll get into the afternoon, and you just see some gusty winds over here, like Lancaster at 36, Riverside 20, but these are not crazy winds like we saw earlier in the week. But there are some gusty winds, and they're going to blow some of the fires around a bit here. Again, that is Saturday. Then we get into Sunday, and again, there could still remain kind of some gusty winds, but this is not the same scenario as what was experienced earlier in the week. But again, there were still some gusty winds out here from time to time, but nothing too bad. And if we take a look at the computer models, and this is going to show just areas that would be favorable for fires to form and to spread quickly here. And this is a Saturday afternoon, of course, across the areas that normally would see it here in the eastern parts of California, down towards Palm Springs, the desert areas. That's because the air is so dry and it's breezy down that way. Then we get into, and you can see it right here along the shoreline here, there remains some areas that might still be favorable for some of those fires to still get spreaded around. So that's one thing we have to just kind of keep an eye on over the weekend. But again, it doesn't look quite as bad. Of course, that was November rainfall for my part of the country here. We had the wettest November on record. I sure wish I could have pushed some of that out there to California. They certainly do need it here. But again, a little bit, we'll continue to watch these fires out there. Conditions favorable still over the weekend, but maybe hopefully the fire department and the rescue people out here will be able to get these under control soon.